A dog is a big responsibility, and you want to do the best thing possible for her. Today, I'll be talking about why you should or shouldn't have your dog spayed or neutered. Hi, I'm veterinarian Neil de Schrijver and I help cat and dog owners avoid sudden sickness and high medical bills without the long waiting times and stress, and so Dr. Google doesn't give you a heart attack. If you'd like to avoid medical or behavioral problems for your furry friend, be sure to click the subscription button below and hit the bell button so you get notified every time I release a new video. Having your dog neutered or spayed is a big decision and a responsibility. So the way I see it is never up to me to tell you what you have to do. The only thing I want here is that if you're gonna make a decision either way, it better be a well-informed one. I will break this video up into 3 parts. First the why, then the why not, and the when will be for another video. Part 1. Why should you get your dog neutered? There are 2 parts to this question, the owner side and the medical side. From the owner's perspective, it's about peace of mind and comfort. There are 2 main things that can be avoided when your dog is no longer fertile. Reason 1, your dog will no longer be in heat every once or twice a year, depending on the kind of breed that your dog is, at the most inconvenient times, of course. Which means she will not be losing blood that you have to be cleaning up after her all the time. Her mood won't change, which can happen in heat, just like with some women. And she won't be eager to break out to find her mate, which is what happens in heat a lot. Reason 2. No unexpected pregnancy. If you don't want your dog to have puppies, then getting her spayed or neutered is the best way to go, and most veterinarians would agree with me. But there are some special cases that certain breeds are better off not being neutered just because of their genetic predisposition. Part 2. The medical side. There are 3 important medical reasons why you should preventively get your dog spayed. From bad to worse, this is pseudogravity, pyometra, and mammary carcinoma. Reason 1. Pseudogravity. This is also called falsehood or nervous lactation. It is caused by a sudden drop of hormones that were there during the heat, and it can cause various symptoms, usually a few weeks after. And what you'll usually see is a nesting urge, and one of the main things that happens is that your dog will be carrying around a stuffed toy all day long. Might be whiny, sometimes aggressive, and the nipples might swell and get infected. Now this is not all too dangerous unless the infection on the nipples gets too bad, then it needs to be treated, or if your dog gets too aggressive to a point that he might bite someone and hurt someone. Most of the times this will go away on its own, but sometimes it stays present for too long or doesn't go away or is too severe, and then it needs to be treated medically. The most annoying part of this is that once your dog has had this after a heat cycle, she will most likely get it after each heat cycle again and again and again. So then neutering is a good way to solve this problem. But better yet, before the problem occurs. Reason 2. Pyometra or uterary infection. Just like with pseudogravity, it also occurs right after heat, but unlike pseudogravity, this can be life-threatening. There are 2 kinds of pyometra, the closed one and the open one. The open one is not so dangerous. You will also notice this. Your dog will only be a little bit sick, but there will be pus and stench and filth coming out of the vagina, and we usually know what the problem is. If it's a closed one, however, your dog will feel very miserable. We won't know right away what the problem is. Sometimes they drink and pee more than normally, but that's not always the case. So we might have to go on blood examinations or an echography, but we just might be too late to find out the problem in time. With the open kind, we can treat medically, but just like with pseudogravity, it is very likely to occur after every heat, and the next time she just might have a closed pyometra. So it's better to get her healthy with medication and then plan the operation 2 months later. In my opinion, with an open pyometra, the only good reason that you would have not to neuter your dog afterwards is if you'd still like puppies or you're a puppy breeder. If it's a closed pyometra, however, a life-saving surgery needs to be performed, wherein the uterus and the ovaries need to be taken out altogether. But unlike in a preventive sterilization or spay, your dog is not in good health at this time. So it's way more dangerous to perform the surgery, but if you do not perform the surgery, your dog will die. So it's not a nice feeling to have your dog in this situation. The complications that can occur is that the wall of the uterus rips open because it's more fragile and full of pus, and if this ends up in the abdomen, it's very often times a lost cause. Because it will go into shock and get infections and complications. But also this happens very quickly after the heat, so the blood vessels are very thick, very engorged, so bleeding and bleeding out can also be a complication. So you would want to prevent this from happening altogether if you do not want any puppies from your dog. Just for the record, a lot of people think this is true, but your dog does not need to have puppies before she's neutered to be happy or healthy. This is a big myth. Just like with humans, dogs don't necessarily want babies. This human does and has 2 babies. Human ones, not dogs. Now, I'm sure you're worried about this life-saving surgery, but when it is successful, your dog feels much better instantly because all that was making her feel terrible is removed right away. So usually that dog will be running around in a day or 2. So that is awesome. And I love when I can perform this surgery, but I prefer it preventively. Much less dangerous. Reason 3, mammary carcinomas, also called mammary gland tumors, and we see them most often with older female dogs that have not been neutered in a younger life or not neutered at all. These tumors are malignant and they tend to metastasize pretty quickly, and usually they go to the lungs, which makes every help come too late. So if you do see a lump around the nipples on your dog, please go see your veterinarian sooner rather than later. Plus, they grow very fast and bruise and break open easily, which is very painful and brings down the life quality of your dog tremendously. Many breeds can have this problem, but most breeds fall into the small dog category. When this is noticed and diagnosed, which a senior consultation with your vet should, if it's a good vet, then your dog will need surgery. Ideally though, your dog first needs an x-ray of the lungs to see if the tumor hasn't metastasized to the lungs yet. If this is okay, not only does your dog need to be neutered at that same time of the surgery, because this is a hormonal tumor, it grows faster when the hormones are involved. Also, not only the nipple where the tumor is, but also the one on top of it and below it needs to be removed, because this tumor spreads through the lymph canals. So if you only remove it at the one nipple, it will come back very quickly on the top or the lower nipple. This means quite a big deal of skin, and all the mammary glands around it needs to be cut out and needs to be closed. So this is the most painful part of the surgery. And if you're very unlucky and he also has a tumor on the other row of nipples, then after a month or so the other side needs to be done as well. This cuts into your savings quite a bit and can be pretty hard on your dog. I must say, most dogs recover quite quickly and well after they've had this surgery, because this was making them feel bad and sick already. About 3 to 7 days later, which is pretty quick, they feel better than ever. That's why it's one of my favorite procedures to do. So these were the medical reasons. which I feel are the most important, but most people don't even decide to get their dog neutered because of this, because they don't even know about these reasons. But now you do, and you can make an informed decision. And I will be very honest with you, we'll go to the next part. Part 2. Why not? A very good question. Why not? There are very few risks involved, especially if your dog has had a medical examination prior to the surgery and your dog is deemed healthy. But nevertheless, there are a few downsides to having your dog neutered. Reason 1. Your dog will be more prone to obesity. However, if you have a good vet, he will give you the right advice on how to prevent this, so the right amount of food and the right kind of food. So unless you don't follow this advice, this should not be an issue. So usually if you have a good vet who gave a good explanation, it is your own damn fault your dog got fat. And we get very frustrated about this. Just a little honesty for you. Sorry. Just in case, I will make a video series on obesity in dogs in my YouTube channel, so go check it out if it's there already. If this is an older video you're looking at, you'll probably find it. Reason 2. Change in character. Some dogs do change in character quite a bit. I have not seen this before, but I've heard about this. But mostly they become calmer and easier to handle. Reason 3, the kind of breed your dog is. For some breeds, it's not necessary to have them neutered because they have very low chances of getting any of the medical reasons that I gave you earlier in this video. For some breeds, there are a few special cases. It might actually do more harm if they are neutered. So please get your information on this before you decide to have your dog neutered. But the majority of breeds do better when they are neutered. Reason 5. The surgery. People very often are scared of the surgery itself. Not to worry, for a veterinarian, this is one of the easiest and most common procedures to do. I, for one, love doing this kind of surgery, but some veterinarians just don't like doing surgery. So go find out if your veterinarian is comfortable doing this, if he actually loves it, because it helps. And if you are curious, I will be posting a video on this channel on how we perform it in our practice. You will also see how we keep on giving lots of TLC even if your dog is already sleeping. We feel it helps. Reason 5. The cost. For me, it's really a no-brainer, but I can understand that some people don't have the money to get this done. But I really feel strongly that you should think about this before you get a dog. The cost for a preventive neutering is much less than for one of the illnesses I've mentioned before. After hearing all of this, let me know what you decided in the comments below, because I'm very curious if any of this helped your decision. Also, if you have any more questions, let me know and I will answer them as soon as possible. Let's keep your furry friend happy and healthy together, and I will see you in the next video.